Hey, so you've been thinking about moving to Jupiter and the surrounding area, but you've watched the news and things look bad, like real bad, like star collapsing in on itself, black hole bad. Well, today that's exactly what we're going to talk about. What does the market in South Florida actually look like, and should you be considering living here? That's right. Real estate market has changed a lot in the last couple of years across the country, and nowhere is that more true than down here in South Florida and in Jupiter and the surrounding area. And that's exactly what I want to talk to you about today. My name is Andy Johnson with the Andy Johnson Group over at eXp Realty, and thank you so much for checking out the video today. Glad to have you here. And if you've never joined us before, go ahead and click subscribe and ring that bell. You're going to want to be notified anytime that we post new content on our channel, because we have got great neighborhoods, great deals, and great information that if you're coming to this area or are already here, you're going to want to know about. So again, click subscribe. Let's get that going. But let's talk about why we're really here, right? What's going on? Should you be thinking about buying right now? And that is a call or a discussion that I'm having with a lot of people that are looking in this area, and quite frankly, a lot of sellers that are saying, should I get out of here? I mean, is this thing going bust? Do we need to go? And that's what I want to touch on today. So I think to start off, what we really need to do though is kind of set some parameters for how we're going to discuss this, because it's a big topic and there's a lot of moving pieces to it. Number one, we're going to need to segment the housing market a little bit because they're not all the same. And so for today's purposes, we're going to separate it into two main categories: condos and single-family homes. We obviously have the other styles of properties down here, villas and townhouses and all that other stuff, but these are the two things that most people are coming to look at, and they're different. They're completely different, as a matter of fact, in what you're considering, and even kind of what they look like today in the market. I think we also need to establish when we're doing this, right? And so today happens to be September 18th, 2024, and the Fed is going to decide today whether or not they're going to move the interest rate by 25 basis points or maybe 50 basis points, leave it the same. We'll see, and that will obviously have a little bit of an effect on the market. But I think it's also relevant to know where rates are today while we're doing this, because a lot of people misunderstand that as well. I talk to a lot of buyers and sellers that think rates are still above 7%. I've even had somebody tell me the other day it was above 8. And while it does depend on, your loan and what you're trying to do, are you an investor, are you looking for a primary or a secondary home? For the most part, you can get a conforming loan in the low 6s right now. And then it's also relevant to know, and right after this, folks, I swear we're going to get into the market, but it's important for people to know that there are programs like the 3-2-1 buy down out there that allows you to buy down your rate. Now, listen, the only reason any of these things matter is what you think is going to happen with the market and where you think it's going to go. And so I do have a computer here, because while I wish I could sit here and recite 2 years of stats and where the market was and what happened, I just can't. But let's talk about condos first and what that market looks like and what's been going on there. Okay, so what is going on with the condo market and really what's causing it to change? There's a couple of things. I mean, as we've already discussed, mortgage rates across the country have already affected the real estate market, but we have a couple other things that are happening in South Florida that are affecting affordability more than other areas, and condos are really feeling that. There's a lot of negative press about condos too, which doesn't help anything, right? Anytime consumer confidence is down, which I don't know how it couldn't be when you read a lot of the stories that are out there, it hurts things. The challenge with that though is if you pay attention to the stories, a lot of the titles and then kind of the bold at the top, which is what so many people read, are very misleading. We see things often. I see the title, 70% of condo listings drop their list price, right? And list price and sales price are not the same. I'm not sitting here trying to tell you that the condo market is just as strong as it was. It's not, but there's a lot of articles going out like that I think are misleading the public and again, bringing consumer confidence down and it's in turn, affecting the condo market. The second thing obviously is mortgage rates, although we do have a lot of cash buyers. And then the other things that are really, really affecting condos right now are two things. One is insurance, okay? That affects single family homes as well, but condos are really feeling it too. And that's something that's a a little bit new. Even when we have these policies that are split across entire buildings, and let's be clear, most condos have a policy that cover the exterior, right? Basically walls out, and then the residents have a policy that covers the walls in. And these new policies are coming at 30% higher, 50% higher. And that is due to the condo collapse that unfortunately happened a couple years ago, where new rules, laws were put into place and insurance companies became aware of things. And that's not a bad thing for safety. It's just a bad thing for the cost of insurance. There are other things that are affecting insurance in the state of Florida. They're doing to try and get the price to be better. I'd be happy to discuss, but I don't want this video to be 3 hours, so we'll skip. There are other things that I can tell you about there. And then the last thing is the changes to the condo rules and what's required. One of those being fully funding reserves is a new law that's up that has to be done by a fairly soon date. And then also all of the repairs that potentially need to be done for safety reasons. Again, it's not a bad thing for the safety aspect, it's a bad thing for people's pocketbooks, right? So there's been a lot of maintenance that has not necessarily been taken care of that now is coming back, and it's really raising the monthly association fees we're seeing. So, you know, I can't pull a number on here very easily and tell you this is the average. But what I can tell you is what I used to see on a monthly condo fee would probably range anywhere from about 500 to 900. Okay, that, you know, obviously there were some that were still 4,000, 5,000. You had some that were 200, but that was going to be kind of the average. You know, 400 to 500 to about 900 was the range that we would see. Now I'm seeing about $1,000 to $1,500, $1,000 to $2,000, and that's significant. On top of that, a lot of condos are getting assessments, and they're right in the middle of those assessments. They're taking place, and that's hurting things too. So what does this mean for condos? A lot of talking. Well, basically what we're seeing, as we know, is the condo supply has gone up drastically. Condo sales really have not changed a ton. Like, let's look right here, and we're going to put some of these up for you so you can see. So in August of 22, we had 3,272 condo sales. In August of this year, we had 2,127. So that's about 1,000 difference. Now, but let's think about that, folks. 1,000 there, we're actually talking about a 30% reduction. Here's the other big piece of that when you really think about it. In August of 22 last year, we had 10,776 units available. In August of this year, we have 23,453 condos that are available. That's significant. Okay, so what we're seeing is we have a lot more inventory and less demand. And what happens then, right? What happens then is people that have to sell end up taking lower numbers. Now, the condo market is a little bit unique because so many people down here are secondary owners, and they don't necessarily have to sell for a job or have to sell because they're being relocated or there's something's happening with the family, necessarily like kids. But what we do see, right, is, I guess we say kids, you know, and is more often than not, you know, maybe grandkids are born somewhere else, or there's a death or something like that. Death is a big one that, you know, the kids don't want to keep it and you have to sell. And so when that is happening, folks, we're having people get some really great prices on condos right now. So here's the funny thing about it to me. I'm not going to sit here and tell you now is the time to buy. I won't do it. Right? There are too many pieces that come into a buying decision for me to ever sit and tell someone you should buy or you shouldn't buy, especially when I'm looking at a snapshot. And so, you know, the sample that I'm taking, this is my entire MLS from condos that range from 200,000 to 2 million, but this is the average, right? This is what we're looking at. I can't sit here and say, yeah, you should come buy. Prices are low. I mean, I can tell you right now, I can get you a hell of a deal on a condo in the right situation. And if you want to be here long term, it's great. But are you looking for an investment that's going to return you some money, or are you just looking for something to enjoy? Do you want it on the beach? Do you not want it on the beach? How new is the building? What's your budget? Like, I just can't sit here and tell you that you should buy, because the answer is maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you really shouldn't, and you should sit back and wait and see what happens. Something else that I can tell you right now, folks, is we are running at about 11 months of inventory on our market for condos. Okay, so if you don't know, 4 months and under is going to be a seller's market, 4 to 6 months is a neutral market, 6 months and more means we're in a buyer's market. So we're at 11 months, we're in a strong buyer's market. But here's the thing that everybody wants to do, just like stock, right? And this is what I hear all the time. Well, I'm going to wait for the market to go down. I'm going to wait for the market to go down. I'm going to wait for the market to crash. I'm going to wait for the market to go down. And listen, if you've got that number of where it's going, I respect that. I do. I'm not going to challenge you on that. But I think what happens a lot of the time is people kind of paralyze themselves because unfortunately, there's not an email, a memo, a fax, or a carrier pigeon that sends a message to everybody that says, hey, the market just bottomed out. You need to hop in now. So you really need to look at what your options are and understand where the market is and what you're looking for in these condos to decide if it's something that you want to look at. You really need to look closely at condos right now, though, if you want to buy. And if you are going to consider buying, I cannot stress enough, you need to understand what you are getting into and what you are buying into. You need to do a deep dive into the condo financials. You need to also look into the minutes from the board meetings. You need to understand upcoming assessments that may be happening, what past assessments that have they done. You have to have a strong grasp and understanding on what potential costs are headed your way. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of not good deals out there right now, a lot of them. Hence why we've got 11 months of inventory on the market, but there are a lot of great deals too. You know, real estate is such a funny thing because so many people look at it as this massive investment, which it is. It is a massive investment, but they treat it as that, right? Like it's just an investment. They don't look at other major purchases like this and sometimes and bring into play that it's not just the investment side of things, it's the enjoyment, you know, and like I said, it just depends so much on how long you're going to hold it for. There are certain areas I'm going to tell you right now that I think that you should avoid. And again, to prevent this video from being hours and hours, you're going to have to email me or call me about that one. But understand, again, that right now, if you are looking for a condo, it may be the time to hop in the market. Okay, so reach out to us and let us know. Now, I will mention this because this goes both ways. The economic outlook for South Florida is still strong. You know, it depends on what report you're looking at. So I get a little bit away from, you know, quoting too many numbers because some say market's going to do this, some say the market's going to do that. But it does look like we are poised for potential price growth in 2025. The employment sector down here is supposed to grow by about 2.4%. And then something else to consider kind of, especially in the North Palm Beach County area, is how much industry, specifically the financial industry, is moving into West Palm Beach. And downtown West Palm is great if you want to live, you know, in a condo in a city. But if you want some more space or you want a condo on the water, you can't be down there. Well, unless Palm Beach is something you want to consider. But in Palm Beach, your starting price is going to be about $3 or $4 million for a home. I mean, you can go all the way up to 150. But if that's not in the price point that you want to be, then you're coming up towards Jupiter, west of Palm Beach Gardens. If you want a single family home, you're definitely coming that way. So that's a snapshot of what's going on with condos. What's going on with condos is inventory is up. We're seeing some prices come down and you need to do your freaking research before you buy something. Okay? Can't be any more clear than that. So let's move on. Let's talk about the single family market and what that looks like. So how is it similar to the condo market? How is it different? Well, while single family homes are following a similar trend to condos, if you look at the chart, it's not nearly as drastic. Inventory is not the same. Prices are not reflecting the same thing. And so it's definitely something that we want to look at. Now, insurance is definitely coming into play on single family homes, right? Insurance has come up 30 to anywhere from, well, it depends on the home, but 30 to people up 50% on their insurance premiums there. Obviously, interest rates or mortgage interest rates are affecting people a lot too. But just like condos, you know, is it time to buy? Is it not time to buy? Folks, again, I'm not going to be that person that no matter what the market is, no matter what the situation is, you should hop in and buy a home. It's just not the situation. It's not the case, right? I mean, that's absolute just bull crap, really, right? I use a stronger word, but it depends on what you're doing. But so let's talk about what we're actually seeing, starting off with some numbers. So in August of 22, right, what we had was 4,360 properties sold. In August of 24, we had 3,784. So that's a reduction of about 500 properties. Boy, do that math in my head. I guess it's a little bit more than 10%. It'd probably be like a 13% reduction in sales, as opposed to condos that were at a 30%, right? And then if we look at something similar, inventory in August of 22 was 13,406. And inventory now is 18,244. So you can see the sales have not dropped off in the same way with single family homes, and inventory hasn't grown in the same way with single family homes. When we look at inventory for single family homes right now, we're running just shy of about 5 months, all right? And with condos, we're at 10. So you can see that the single family homes just aren't experiencing the same turmoil that we are with condos. It's been a much more solid market. You know, there could be some different reasons, which we already discussed. You know, the funding of reserves, the assessments that these condos are seeing, the news being reported with the condos, I think are all very relevant to what's happening there. You know, again, I think with a lot of the business that's moving down here, you know, and people making Florida their primary home due to jobs or just wanting amazing weather or, you know, taxes or whatever, you know, a lot of those people are looking, you know, for a primary and single family home. So that may be another reason. And like I said, you know, I think especially in the North Palm Beach County area, where we're going to grab a lot of the people coming in for the finance jobs. You know, there's a new hospital being built in Palm Beach Gardens. They just built another office building in Palm Beach Gardens. I mean, it's just there's more and more people coming in. That makes it for these houses to just not be experiencing the same thing that the condos are. Now, that being said, can be a great time to buy a single family home. And the best single family homes to hop into are properties that need work. The truth is homes that are done, you know, just done, immaculate, beautiful properties are still selling at top dollar. You can still have multiple offers. They'll sell in less than a week. We just had one do it. Multiple offers, sold in less than 7 days. Honestly, we could have been under contract after 2, but you know, we were trying to get the best offer for the seller. Those things are going quick. The ones that are really struggling are the properties that have nothing done, or honestly, even some properties that are like 50% done. 50% done can almost be worse sometimes. And if you can be patient, but you know what you want, you can hop in and grab some great deals, because what's happening is it seems like sometimes a lot more of the sellers in single family homes as opposed to condos, sometimes, I won't say a lot more, but sometimes they need to leave. They've got a vacant house sitting here. They moved somewhere else. It was never their intent to own 2 properties. And so they're just incurring holding costs that are higher due to insurance and increased property tax and all these things. And their houses are just sitting empty. And so what'll happen, one of the best times you can jump in is you'll see either that property's been sitting on the market and they've not done a price reduction. So a great time to jump in and try and give them a lower price, or the property just came back to the market due to inspection or something. Buyers are getting really, really fickle because they can, and they're negotiating way harder, and we're having a lot more deals fall through, come back to the market. Then you end up with a frustrated seller that's like, just freaking get rid of this thing. You can jump in, save the day, get a great deal, and you're happy, they're happy, move on with life. So that is an excellent option to look at. Another thing that we're seeing here a lot, especially, well, in South Florida in general, and I meant to mention this earlier because it reigns true for condos as well, is we've got a lot of people looking at new construction. One of the reasons that people look at new construction, that new construction is doing so well, is number one, the insurance on a new construction build is so drastically reduced than something built in the 80s or 90s is absolutely amazing. You could have the exact same property that was built. When I say the exact same, I mean, let's say there were 2 homes next to each other, one built, you know, in 85 and one built in 2022. CVS, all things the same, but just that age alone, and depending on the age of the roof, one policy, you know, the older home could have a policy of $7,000, while the new home, which is worth more money, could have a policy of $3,000 or $3,600. it depends on the size of the house. It depends on the roof. It depends on the roof shape. Again, I can go deeper into the conversation, but there's just too many variables. But so insurance is way less on new construction. The other thing is for people that are looking to get a loan, a lot of the builders right now, in order to try to get people into their new homes, are offering mortgage rate incentives to get people in the door. And so you can go buy a new house for a lower interest rate, a lower insurance rate, really reducing your overall monthly payment. And that's just not a bad deal. Now, the challenge can be where you're looking to find that new construction property and where you want to be. And we're good at locating those. There's not as much up in, North Palm Beach County as, say, if you get up into St. Lucie, County, or if you move farther south into Palm Beach, Delray, Boynton area. There's lots of pockets, but that's what's going on. So new construction is actually going pretty strong as well. Overall, folks, what it feels like is, yeah, we're definitely in a lull, 100%. I wouldn't argue that with anyone. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be that agent that says everything is amazing and everything is as strong as it was a couple years ago, because that's just not true. Again, I'm going to tell you, it is not the right freaking time for a lot of people to buy right now. But depending on what you are looking for, what you want, when you want to be here, what your goal is, it might be the right time for you. If you're thinking about it, all I can suggest is that we have a conversation to figure out what you're trying to do and whether you should sit back and wait or not. I have got people that you can talk to right now. I could give you their phone numbers. If you decide to call, it'll tell you. I've told them to hold off, sit back, wait, because of what they're looking for, what they need, what's going on in life, right? I'm not that guy. But the fact is, we do have more inventory, especially with condos. We have more inventory with single-family homes. So inventory's up, sales down, but prices have remained relatively firm with single-family homes. That's due to averages, right? Somebody going and buying a brand new home versus going out and buying a home that needs to be completely renovated. The last thing I'll mention too, not to jump back to that, I apologize about the renovation homes. Now we really can get into homes that need work, where I'm just making up numbers, but hey, you buy it for 700, you put in 100,000, 800, the home's worth 900 when you're done. I actually have a property listed today that truthfully I think somebody could buy in the low, 1.3-ish range, put in about $300,000 and have that house be worth about 1.8 to 1.9. That's $250,000 to $300,000 in equity for that person. And that's right now while the market is a little bit depressed. This market is going to come back. It's cyclical. The bottom line is we live in paradise down here, and people are not going to stop coming to paradise. Right? You can go farther north in Florida. It's cold in the winter. You can go to the west coast of Florida. Let me know how you like it. I don't mean to knock them over there. Right? It's great, but there's a reason that I live here. You can go to North Carolina, Georgia, and all these other places, but the fact is Florida is where it's at. It's where people are going to come. Those other areas, I'm biased. I live here. They're second best, right? Maybe you're getting a little bit more for your bang, but you're living in a second best area. So I hope I'm not upsetting anybody, but if that's what you want, that's what it is. Bottom line, give me a call. I love to talk about this stuff. I'd love to have a deeper dive. I'd love your opinions on it. And I really appreciate you checking out the video today. Thanks so much for the time, and I hope to hear from you soon.